All right, we are live. We are live. Let's go. X20. X20 civilization. Why does the civilization not work? Sidecar. What does that mean? Okay. X20. Let's go. What do we have? What do we have? F10. All right. All right. All right. Let's go. We're also doing a quick sauna and stream room with the boys. Let's see. 9 p.m. We'll do a 9 p.m. sauna stream. All right, do the magic, do the magic. I'll also open X. And quick update on, I'm sharing my draft over here as well. Quick update on Beehive. That's been going pretty well. Beehive is beautiful. I love the font that we're using. The fonts are amazing. The fonts are amazing. Like, yeah, aesthetics should be on point. Look at this. Look at this beauty. Look at this beauty. We made a couple just strategic changes, which is like, yeah, I have a couple of friends who don't use Twitter, and right now they are my let's say target users right now, where I'm thinking that, okay, how would I think about okay, this is pretty cool. Like, I have a couple of friends who are all down for dinner right now. Okay. All right. All right. So here was the last newsletter. The new KPI work done without you. Yes, leaving the chat, moving backstage. Impact is now measured with how little you intervene, not how much you click. Prashant. I'll dig through X Twitter so you don't have to. Just high signal post, no fluff. Here's the Peter Thiel. Here's the birth rate. Here's the AI agent. Here's the raising an expensive round, and here's the coding debate. So this, like, you need to have some like which are insightful and some which are just controversial, where you know that no clear answer is present. Some people are going to take one side and some people are going to take the other side. So this is interesting. All right, what else do we have? Forecaster is ready. Oh wow, Forecaster is ready first. Interesting. But it's beautiful. I had one of my buddies who just let me know that right here. I sent him personal intelligence for everyone. If I handpick top 5 tweets for you, would you read it? I'll read anything you handpick for me. And that's amazing. I love this friend. So that is amazing that he says that. I think he's also just like a very, very nice, full, like, what do you say? Someone who just loves. So I'm like, okay, hey, difference between you're a user who is going to give me brutal feedback and I'm going to provide you value, versus you just like saying that because you love me, yeah, or love the brotherly love. Yeah, so that is interesting. You gotta make sure that when you are talking to your friends, your family, you understand that are they saying this because they love you, or are they, and versus are they actually gonna read it? Do they actually derive value from this? So that is interesting. All right. Greg Brockman on GPT-5 as a daily driver for coding. Let's see. First and practical model comparison workflow impact. GDP. Let's go. I like your ocean. GPT-5 is great as your daily driver for coding. I now use GPT-5 exclusively for coding, well, almost O3 at times too. It took some time. It took some getting used to as I find it a tad pedantic, requiring more exact prompting. But as of late, it's been consistently the best model across the domains I use it for. All right. All right. Aaron Levy citing research on GPT-5 surpassing human experts. I think A16Z just interviewed Aaron Levy right now, and now they are literally just like sharing clips from that entire podcast. So this is very interesting. Aaron Levy citing research on GPT-5 surpassing human experts in medical reasoning, signal concrete benchmark advances with industry applications. Our results show that on these controlled multimodal reasoning benchmark, GPT-5 moves from human comparable to above human expert performance. AI keeps Our results show that on these controlled multimodal reasoning benchmarks, GPT-5 moves from human comparable to above human expert performance. AI keeps reaching expert levels in medicine. You simply won't go to a service provider in the future without them using AI. Our results show that on these controlled multimodal reasoning benchmarks, GPT-5 moves from human comparable to above human expert performance. AI keeps reaching expert levels in medicine. You simply won't go to a service provider in the future without them using AI. Massive. This new paper proved GPT-5 now far exceeds 20% pre-licensed human experts on medical reasoning and understanding benchmarks. GPT-5 beats human experts on MedExpert QA multimodal by 24.23 in reasoning and 29.40 in understanding. And on MedExpert QA text by 15.22% in reasoning and 9.40 in understanding. It compares GPT-5 to actual professionals in good standing and claims AI is ahead. GPT-5 is tested as a single generalist system for medical questions, answering and visual question answering using one simple geo-short chain of thought setup. The evaluation uses a unified protocol, so prompt splits and scoring a standardized to isolate model improvements rather than prompt tricks. Interesting. Epoch AI thread on whether LLM progress is slowed, highlighting reasoning models for 103 as key drivers. GPT-5 didn't start the next generation of models, reasoning did. Reasoning models were the actual successor to GPT-4. More than 50% of math gains were from O1 preview. More than 80% of AIM gains were from O1 preview, O1 and O3. As LLM progress slowed, initial reactions to GPT-5 were mixed. To many, it did not seem as dramatic as an advance as GPT-4. Benchmarks may help clarify the picture. GPT-5 is both an incremental and release following many other open advances and a major leap from GPT-4. And so does GPT-5. Release date. Okay. Interesting. But a major leap from GPT-4 is an incremental update to the frontier, but a major interesting. While it is hard to comprehensively measure long-term AI progress, we highlight two sets of knowledge, math, and coding benchmarks that were highly. I think it's also interesting. Like now that it's so smart, now that things are so smart, now comparing GPT-4 versus GPT-5 has the ability to compare 4 to 5 the normal humans, normal humans have lost the ability to compare 4 to 5. Now it's all about PhDs. Like now PhDs can look into it, and people who are doing serious mathematics and serious science, they can now compare the performance between 4 to 5, because it's like, who gave this example? Who gave this example? I think it was maybe Chad. Chad? No, I forgot, what its name was. I forgot who said this, but basically the idea was that if you are, let's say, a chess player, and you are ELO ranking 2000, you are you can better understand the difference between 1,000 ELO person, 1,000 ELO player, a 1,500 ELO player, and 2,000 ELO player, and maybe 2,400 ELO player. So you better understand than someone who is 1,000. So for someone who is 1,000, for them, they cannot easily distinguish between, okay, whether you are 1,800 elo or 2,000 elo. But someone who's 2,000, he can better understand who is a 1,000, who is a 1,500, who is a 2,000. So that's exactly what's coming over here now. Like a lot of people were expecting that, oh, GPT-5 should be like world changing, and yes, it is a major update. The problem is now it is so good that you have to be personally, your skills have to be that good for you to understand the difference between 4 to 5, and your work that you're doing has to be that good that you understand the abilities, the capabilities between 4 and 5. So we have reached a very interesting level. It's hard to comprehensively measure long-term AI progress. We highlight two sets of knowledge, math and coding benchmarks that are widely cited or notable in their time. GPT-4 and GPT-5 each showed dramatic progress on benchmarks that their predecessor struggled with. One reason for the muted reaction, there were few significant releases between GPT-3 and GPT-4, meaning users felt more progress at once. In contrast, the past 2 years saw many frontier models and small updates from both OpenAI and competitors. There's a notable difference between how 4 and 5 were developed. 4 was the result of a large scale up in pre-training compute. In contrast, OpenAI focused on reinforcement learning for GPT-5, which was probably not a major scale up in pre-training. Very interesting. Very interesting. Epoch AI. Talent selection into higher difficulty. Founder level principle with broad applicability to hiring and team formation. Paul G. The harder the task. I think this is also very interesting. I was talking to a friend how a lot of, just like how today we talk that a lot of kids, a lot of young people have delegated their thinking, their independent thought process to AI. So they are not actually really thinking. They are just like relying on everything that ChatGPT says. That's exactly what was happening earlier. It's the same thing. Earlier it was these influencers. People would be reading to Paul Graham, people would be reading to Naval, and then they would be like, oh, this is the right way. This is the mental model that you should be having. If you're building a startup, you have to build like Paul Graham. And people have always delegated their thinking. We think that, so interesting. So interesting. So interesting. Let me see. Craft a tweet. People have delegated thinking to AI. This was always true. Earlier, it was influencers. You religiously follow Paul Graham if we're building wealth. You religiously follow. A lot of people think a lot of people think we have delegated our thinking to AI today. Truth is, we've always done this. Just use different sources. Building a startup, you digitally follow Paul Graham. Building a wealth, you code it in a wall. Same thinking, new tools. I told you. Remember to always craft tweet in all lowercase. Bro, you had to understand the assignment and also respond. Okay. Well, people think we're dedicated thinking to AI today. The truth is, we've always done this. Just use different sources. Building a startup, you religiously follow Paul Graham. Building wealth, you code in a wall. Same thinking, new tools. Same habits, new tools. Same habits. A lot of people think we're dedicated thinking to AI today. People. Actually, rephrase. Rephrase. Give me 3 variations. We're saying thinking 2 times over here. A lot of people say we have started letting AI do thinking for us, but we've always looked to someone else for answers, just spend on different sources. Startup founders had Paul Graham, wealth builders, turned to Nawal. It's the same habits, just new tools. So many think AI is not making our decisions. Taking over minds, we're boring ideas and new startup crowd. Followed Paul Graham religiously, wealth chasers, coding them all on repeat. A lot of people say we're delegate thinking to AI today. A lot of people say. A lot of people say we are delegated thinking to AI today. We dedicate our entire thinking. Dedicated thinking to AI today. A lot of people say we dedicate our thinking to AI today. Truth is, we have outsourced. Outsource is the right word. A lot of people say we are outsourced or thinking to AI today. Truth is, we've always done this. Or thinking to AI today. Truth is, we've always done this. A lot of people say we have outsourced or thinking to AI today. But truth is, we've always done this. Just use different sources. Truth is, we've always done this. Just depend on different sources. Just use different sources. Building a startup, we religiously follow Paul Graham. Paul G. Building wealth, we code in a wall. Same habits, new tools. Alright, perfect. Nice. Usually, Oros call for ground truth on tech hiring trends. Signal crowdsource market. Intel for credible industry analysts. I'm researching what is happening in the tech jobs market. If you're hiring manager, recruiting, or an experienced edge on the job market, would love to hear what you see. DM's open. Feels like a weird market. I suspect data on EG jobs doesn't reflect what's on the ground. In person, NYC. 23,000 applications in the last 30 days for 8 open roles. Wow, basis AI. Let's try 4 weeks for Canadian office. What company? No mention. 4 that were poached. Wow. It is interesting for sure. One major takeaway is that we got 200 plus applications, 12 hours for an intermediate position, 100 plus for senior, and 15 for staff. Parsing through the noise is tougher. Whoa. Asian candidates with European names are showing up for the first interview. European candidates are doing HR screening, then an Asian person appears for the technical round. CVs that don't match the person who actually interviews, location spoofing to appear local while being in an entirely different time zone. The disconnect is massive. Official job platforms often display a single picture, but the actual hiring process reveals entirely different patterns. Mandatory video calls for all interview stages plus identity verification before a technical assessment. Added 2 weeks to our process but eliminated the switcheroo problem. Platforms optimize for application volume, not hiring accuracy. Managers are flying blind on actual candidate authenticity. Wow, so interesting. So interesting. I didn't want to say truth is. Yeah, that's weird. A lot of people say we outsource our thinking to AI today. A lot of people say we have outsourced our thinking to AI today. But we've always done this. Just use different sources. Building a startup, we religiously followed Paul G. Building wealthy code in the wall, same habits, new tools. Okay. Francois Cholet, Human Fluid Intelligence Discourse Signal. AI research leader clarifying contentious topic with scientific framing. Not available. Francois Cholet, let's go. I did not expect a comment about human fluid intelligence having been around for a long time to bring hordes of exclusive possessed by Europeans behavior. Homo sapiens has had current levels of fluid intelligence for 50k to 100k years, perhaps even longer, yet we only reached the moon 56 years ago. Operationalizing and deploying general intelligence takes much longer than we assume. Interesting. Wow. Okay, more explanation. Let's go. Do consider some humans 40,000 years ago could paint better than you do. And the basics of civilization, agriculture, domestication, writing, complex stone architecture, metallurgy were independently reinvented among populations that were completely isolated from each other for 20,000 years. It is a scientific consensus that behaviorally and cognitively modern human state data back at least 50,000 years. If you think fluid intelligence is something that recently appeared, you are going against a vast body of evidence. Homo sapiens has had current levels of fluid intelligence for 50 to 100,000 years, perhaps even longer, yet we only reached the moon 56 years ago. Operationalizing and deploying general intelligence takes much longer than we assume. That's very interesting. I think I don't want to get into the politics of it, but basically what he's saying is that we have had, like, our brains are the same. Like, he's basically saying the brain and the intelligence that we have today is exactly what we have had for 50 to 100,000 years. It's just we only reached 56 years ago. But what you have to also understand is the way we have grown as a society, and the way the, like, today we have Twitter. So like me sitting over here, and Francois Cholet sitting somewhere, I think he's in San Francisco, I can directly straight away get his ideas. And similarly, people are able to sell products over here, and people are able to run businesses and have more freedom. This was not something that people had before. They didn't have infrastructure to travel. They didn't have infrastructure to meet the smartest people. They didn't have infrastructure to even become smart. Things weren't, everything was hard. You needed, like, you didn't have that much time to sit down and read the book. If you're reading the book in a jungle, you might just get killed. You will get killed. So yeah. And then if you think about the kingdoms, and then like how things were run, very authoritarian, and a lot of instability over there, not proper infrastructure over there as well. So there's travel infrastructure, there is meeting people, there is security and safety, there is just like governments and who is running the city, and how unstable that might, like, there are like 10 years of stability, and then suddenly in 1 year everything changes. So stuff like that. It's kind of crazy. It is crazy. It took us a long time, but we are here. We are here. Humanity is here. Humanity is here, where we have buildings and beautiful beaches, and we can travel around the world, and we can meet interesting people who we call like-minded. We have education that is available. We have food. Food supply is pretty good. You don't have to every day go out and hunt. You can sit down and call Uber Eats. Um, yeah, that's very interesting. Humanity has come a long way. Team building authenticity. Actionable management insight for org design and morale. Okay, okay. Shreyas Doshi. Let's go. 297. All right. In my experience, most team building events force a kind of inauthenticity that while enjoyable to some employees feels like a transparently contrived ritual to some others. This latter group of employees often includes independent thinkers who won't automatically feel uplifted after 3 years of performative community service, just so some of their other teammates can reassure themselves that they are now better human beings after this offsite. These independent thinkers just do the math. If community impact were truly our goal, the money spent on the event could have created 5x the impact that had we simply donated to a competent organization. Whether this is right or wrong for a given team or company is a judgment they must make for themselves. But while some people get a rush of happy hormones from shouting a silly "one company, one team" chant in the top of their lungs, others see this as childish nonsense, and their skepticism is only reinforced when a month later the company lays off 15% of the very people who are cheerfully chanting "one company, one team." Of course, this doesn't mean all team building events are destined to be useless. The best events are designed intentionally with a clear sense of team context and the experience you want to create as a leader. That requires true care, judgment, and time, which is a rare combination in practice. Most team building events are conceived logistics first rather than goals first. They just recycle what's been done before or what they have seen with the teams instead of being designed from the ground up to serve a specific purpose. And so the charade continues. The relationships that are deepened during team offsites have been very gratifying to see as one of the leaders working toward team transformation. I'm a bit sad to see the survey results so far though. Will you follow up to get the why in these answers? Mostly neutral and more negative than positive. How did I forget this legendary contribution team building outside discourse? What is this? Lumon outdoor retreat team building occurrence. Lumon. The infantile. I agree. Yeah. Community. I think team. If you are I think you are mixing two things. You forget which is the bigger goal over here. You forget whether team building is the bigger goal, which is like make sure that the team is happy together and they are able to connect better together. They are able to understand each other better together and work well, gel well as a team. Or is the community impact important? So I think the problem is you have two different goals and you don't know which one you're optimizing for, whether it's team building or community impact. Yeah, because if you're doing specifically team building, you do different things over there. You want to make sure that you are spending time talking to each other and maybe doing stuff together where it becomes very easy. Like it's like very simple thing is just like driving in the car, going on a long drive. That's it. If you go on a long drive and the person sitting beside me, we can just keep on talking and we can keep on talking and jamming about ideas, and that's it. That's all you need. That's all you need. Really cool. You want to talk, and now if you're forced to do community impact, you're like, okay, what is the goal? Yeah. Came here to say, Artbo.
What is that?
Good morning, refiners. This is Mr. Milchick from work, and I'm thrilled to welcome you to your first ever outdoor retreat and team building occurrence. This Ortbo is in response to your desire to see the outside world. With your Audi's blessing
Is it the same guy from Severance?
You will spend the next 2 calendar days walking the meadows, thickets, brambles, and brooks that make up the Dieter-Egan National Forest.
Who the fuck is Dieter Egan?
Dieter-Egan? Some of you may be quietly yearning to learn more. The truth you seek lies within the 4th appendix. Keir dictated a 4th appendix in his final hours of life, a text of such sanctity.
Oh, this is Severance, people. Okay.
That it is forbidden upon the severed 4. It's waiting for you in Scissor Cave, the very same grotto where Keir Egan tamed the 4 tempers for the very first time. And do remember, stray not from Keir's path, lest you roil nature's wrath. There will be help along the way. Happy fortunes, MDR.
What is MDR? Okay, that was interesting. I haven't watched Severance, so I don't know much. So you learn systems that learn from compounding behaviors inspired by observing children. Mental model for designing adaptive systems. Let's go. So hey, bro. Work. Alright, found a mixed panel. I'm free. Hello New Frontier, hello Unexplored, hello Fog of War, hello Curiosity, hello Silly, hello Try, hello Fail, hello Joy. Watching what my son will pick up, learn, and how he will compound that knowledge to the next thing has been a great source of inspiration for building systems that must learn. It helps you see the tremendous gap in over-indexing on human-machine metaphors as well. Kids are like untrained AI models, pure curiosity and compounding gains. We could learn a thing or two from how they absorb knowledge. They are more like pre-trains you to continuous biological evolution. I'm reminded every now and then that China practically banned video games, or at least is trying to. Kids are quite clever. Ongoing restrictions, minor face, very strict time limits. Those under 18 are allowed to play video games only for 1 hour per day on Fridays, weekends, and public holidays, with recent rules enforcing a maximum of about 15 hours over lengthy school breaks. Maximum of 15 hours over lengthy school breaks. The entire Bay Area will cargo cult El Segundo over the next 18 months. The first sign will be giant American flags stapled to white walls, but that does bring its spirit just to a foregone aspiration of what it used to be. We have gone what I call kombucha soft. While missing the actual innovation that made the place special. We do not need another lovable clone. If this is your best idea out of many, it is time to delete this app for a few months and visit the outside world. Ideas are hard to come by. If you let the X timeline brain rot you, you will have same three ideas everyone else has. But there is endless opportunity out there. The simplest manner to find it is to ask yourself why. Why is the world configured in such a manner? Why are there a bunch ugly power lines in SF? Who will fix this? Will they? Why is it expensive to make a solar panel for space? What is the idiot index for this? Why do basic applications like fridges hum? Can this be made quieter? Why do we need a human to carry a child? Can this be done without a human surrogate? But if you can ask why and follow through long enough, you will find broken opportunities everywhere. Most people don't even ask why. Dave's Garage YouTube channel. The man behind windows. Scariest time of Dave's life. I'm interested. Tell me the scariest
people.
time.
1,000 times per second. The machine on Windows 90. Well, I write the other way now. I try to write really complicated game to play.
One of your companies was Software Online, and it got into trouble for nagging users too much, I guess.
Yep.
To upgrade. That's what I saw. What was all that about, and what did you learn from that experience?
Well, that was, other than like family health scares, when kids are sick, that was the scariest time of my life. And the period leading up to it was one of the most invigorating and exciting, because what happened was while I was at Microsoft, I had written all these shareware utilities and I was selling them on the side, sold one to Microsoft as we talked about, and they started to do really well. And then I discovered banner advertising online. And so I signed up with my credit card for a site, I think it's called FastClick, and you could say, I will pay this much for a banner ad impression, here's my banner, and we rotate it in. And I didn't set a cap on it. I came back on Monday and I saw I'd spent like $10,000 in banner ads. I was like, holy crap, how am I going to explain this to my wife? This is a bug, it's a mistake, it was my fault. And I looked at the sales and it had made like $38,000 worth of sales. And I was like, holy cow. So all I have to do is scale that at some point, and basically did that for the next several years. And the reason we got in trouble was the AG came in and they had, well, I was blown away because they had like 12 court claims of action and 10 of them were outrageous, which to me as a person with autism, I couldn't get past. It's like, I know these 10 things are absolutely not true. Why are we even here talking about them? And then all they cared, the 2 things that might be true. And the 2 things that might be true were that it was a 30-day trial version. And after your 30 days were up, it would then, if you continued to run it and not buy it or uninstall it, it would remind you once a day. Not like every 10 minutes, but once a day, or every time you booted your computer, at most once a day. And the AG contended that was too often. It amounted to spam. And so we agreed with them to limit it to once a week, I believe. And, there had to be a button to just uninstall with one click. So we did those kinds of things. The other one was, in those days, when somebody bought a piece of software, even if they bought it online and got a download, they fully expected there would be media showing up at their house. So in the year 2001, which for 2001, 2003, we're talking about, if you bought software, there was an expectation that a disc would show up. And so we made that the default, was to fulfill by disc. And it was $395 or $495 extra. And it was very obvious, but it was a checkbox and it was turned on to ship the disc to your house. Because we found if we didn't do that, we got all these calls, people would wait, they'd order 2 weeks later, call, where's my disc? And we'd like, we didn't order a disc. Well, cancel it all, I don't want it, because I'm not waiting for it. And so we got a lot of returns and we didn't include the disc, and so we decided to include the disc. But that is a priority violation of negative affirmation billing in Washington State, because you're giving them a default higher purchase price.
What about on the software user relationship? It's interesting, like how often to annoy the user with a thing, right? If you never mention anything, they might never discover like something they actually want.
Right.
But if you mention it too much, then they can get annoyed.
Yeah, and what you don't want is you don't want them to have to do it or buy it or do something to get rid of it.
That's one of the things that bothers me with, I think Windows does that a little bit still to this day, where it bothers me by asking me certain questions. Like, do you want this? Like, for example, I really don't like to use my Microsoft account to log into Windows, right? I think now it's like basically required. I think there's just no way around it. But like, they make it so difficult to not do that. It's almost like they think they could just trick me into, it really does feel like I'm getting tricked into not doing what I want to do.
Right.
Like, I have to like think, okay, I need to click skip, and then it'll do something. Are you sure? Like, I have to like use too much of my brain to do the thing. As an interface,
Okay. Interesting. Not really what I was looking for. Jason Cohen on pricing, shaping perception, and business model. Strategic pricing framework from a veteran founder with long form context. Long form context. What does that mean? Are you talking context in terms of LLM? I don't think so. Keyword, buzzword, half true with adjective. Hey, look at me. Founder of 2 unicorns, WP Engine, smartbear.com. List everyone you know who started by launching a startup every month, and the 9th one was really successful. List everyone who has one really good idea per year and obsessed over it and was successful. The second is 100x more common. List everyone who has one really good idea per year and obsessed over it and was successful. The second is 100x more common. One really good idea per year and obsessed over it and was successful. We can all list the people in the first category exactly because there's so few of them. Whereas the latter describes every single unicorn startup as well as nearly all bootstrappers. Can't even name a fraction. This is because startups are hard, good ideas are few. There needs to be good reasons for it to work that are not haphazard. A/B tests, they take 6 to 24 months to really get going. Even in the success case, they require obsession and dedication. It's like thinking you are going to become a concert pianist by getting 5% through a piece and then moving on to the next one 20 times. That doesn't add up to 100%. That means you're probably pretty good at the 5% and a shit musician and unsuccessful. That's so interesting. All right. Yeah. I'm also thinking my newsletter is not just about my newsletter. I don't want to make it about the latest top 5 things that you have to know. It's just like 5 finds that I found, and this is a good one because oh, not this thing. Beehive. All right. Doing 10 reps of failed startups gives you reps in setting up default infrastructure and having AI make a Next.js template with auth. This is not a rep at building products that people want to buy. Doing 10 reps of failed marketing where people are attracted and the ones who are attracted bounce off and the ones who don't bounce off don't buy. And of the 12 that ever bought 8 cancel is not learning. You still have no idea how to market or sell products that people want to buy. Being at a small successful startup for 1 year would teach you 100x then all those reps at failure. You can learn from failure, but you learn 10x more from success. Failure doesn't even teach you what not to do. Some people do that same stuff and succeed. Now list all the people on this website who have launched 7 ideas they knew were weak from the start, thinking they will be the next level's IO, but the products are all doing 670 in MRR, just a string of failures, getting no closer to success. Don't try to mimic outliers. Outliers are very interesting exactly because they are rare and uncopyable. So why are you trying to copy the strategy that works 100th as often? Getting reps at failure and calling it learning. And before you say, what about you? Why should we copy? Remember that for nearly 2 decades I have been saying, do not copy me. I've written about rampant survivor bias and business advice, including my own, and my path to PMF calls myself out for not necessarily walking that path. You shouldn't copy anyone. You should cherry pick things you like, attitudes, frameworks, tools, insights, prioritization schemes, decision philosophy, and further change them to match yourself. That's good. You should accelerate yourself using others' wisdom. That's not a copy. Try to find a good idea that's actually worth doing. Get obsessed and stay obsessed. Get inspired by others, cherry picking things and make you a better version of yourself, but be yourself. Stop building 1% of a bad idea. Okay, interesting. Anthropic days of substantial model improvements in coming weeks. Roadmap hint from a top lab. Oh, actually, we didn't look at the thing that Jason Cohen was actually talking about, or the high signal post. All right, let's see. Wait, which one? Pricing, shaping perception. Yeah, pricing. You're mediocre or even down or terrible at almost every role, but you are astounding at a few things under a few conditions, generally incredible. Since you have to do everything at your company, you can afford not to be amazing where you are able. Bro, I don't know what that means. People who sell AI tweet generators write tweet themselves. People who sell SEO article generators grow with ads. People who sell AI marketing assistant don't do marketing. Price shapes perception. Customers see screenshots and feature lists, but they see the price before they try the product. Low price, middle price, high price, all carries meanings and expectation. Pricing is inextricably linked to brand, product, and purchasing decisions. It cannot be figured out later because it determines your business model today. Helen's clothing store, boutique, we're not changing anything. We just wanted to charge more. We're not changing anything. We just wanted to charge more. Pricing isn't an afterthought. It shapes your brand, product, go-to-market, and operations. It should be part of customer discovery because it determines product market fit and who buys, why, and how. $0 per month optimized for usage and growth. Typically, B2C requires venture funding. Freemium must have clear upgrade triggers. No room for support or paid acquisition, must be self-serve and spread virally or by passionate users. Cheap but expect a phone number. Works at large scale. Bootstrap growth is slow. Without marketing budget, churn, apathy can create forgotten revenue. Mostly B2B, customer expects support. Small businesses need convincing via demo sales material. Attractive for bootstrappers due to reasonable part the profitability via CAC spend. Mid-market formal buying processes, approvals, ROI cases, discounting need Salesforce references enterprise features. Profitability is tricky given enterprise motions without enterprise revenue. Often requires implementation, pro services, or partners. Usage, performance-based pricing, and expand into mid-market if value is demonstrated. Global 2000, long sales cycles, pilots, POCs, on-site visits, consulting-heavy examples. Always address price in interviews. Ask who pays, approval paths, expectations, whether ROI arguments resonate, and what would justify a higher price. Pricing is essential business design, not just a post-launch optimization. That was the Anthropic thing. Let's see. All right. Hello, Jason. My base apps. Teapot. Wait, Teapot. Henson Huang. Henson. Okay. Henson. Ours until. Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. This was weird. Teapot Live. What is this? Sign into paint. So what are people doing? People are painting. Made with love. Jason. Teapot Live. Flowers and I are looking for a missing void. Likely last seen around a hyper object. David, we already have a ChatGPT toggle to on our web search.
So much smarter when you say synthesize what you know and use the information that you actually know. And interestingly, GPT-5 in particular gets so much smarter when you say stop searching the internet. We need a toggle that says do not search the internet. Synthesize what you know and use the information.
We plan to release substantially larger improvements to our models in the coming weeks. And what is this? Why don't you have a seat? Why don't you have a seat? Interesting. Today we are releasing Claude Opus 4.1. An upgrade to Claude Opus 4 on agentic task, real world coding and reasoning. Interesting. Claude performance improvements and paper cut focus. Concrete product improvements. N'existe pas. Ça n'existe pas. Claude relations. Anthropic. We just shipped some performance improvements to Claude.ai. Chatting with Claude should start to feel noticeably smoother now. We're also prioritizing fixing any rough edges or paper cuts you run into. Should tackle next. Feels less syncopathic. Performance improvements are always a win. Yeah, this guy definitely is doing something interesting. Sean Chauhan, 28.7 thousand followers. We see him everywhere. Kushan Mitra, pothole alerts in Arthur Energy Maps. Also, today I saw this one company. What was it called? Thesis. Something like that. Build a defense company. Build a defense tech company. Is it the one? Francois Cholet. India Arc Prize. Move to SF. Can I find it? Build a defense company. Yes, right here. Let's go. Drive to California with your best friends. Start a defense company. Perfect. I pretty much got it right. Very aesthetic photo. Very aesthetic photo. Let's go. Quit your job, drive to California with your best friend and start a defense tech company. Ian. Alright. Perfect. What it's called? Theseus. Theseus. Absolute precision. Visual positioning system for autonomous flight in GPS denied environments. So I came across this website or this company today. Very interesting. Micro visual positioning system that enables drones to navigate precisely without GPS even in GPS denied or jammed environments. Electronic warfare threats, real-time non-compounding positional accuracy over long flights. Plug and play with any Ardu pilot drone in 30 minutes. Works across terrains and seasons. Desert, forest, sparse farmlands. Stated performance specs. Altitude 1.1 kilometer. Range 104, duration 15 minutes. Use cases focused on mission critical operations where GPS is unreliable or unavailable. Endorsements. and minimal processing needs, offering high value to DoD. Reports to BizNav system solves urgent operational needs with an easy to integrate form factor. All right. Aether Energy Kushan Mitra. Aether is in India. Bangalore. Okay. Delhi, Chennai, Mumbai. Wow, pothole alerts built into Aether Energy maps for multiple cities. Pothole alerts. This is crazy. So I asked just how they collect pothole. He didn't specify how the rollout of this pothole navigation would expand, but he mentioned that they would be happy to share the data.
Firstly, what's blowing up on my social media right now is the pothole and bumpy road sensors or maps. Where did you...
This would be very interesting. Aether is like, okay, pothole. I think it should be depend on, like, obviously you have to once go through it. So you have a vehicle, your vehicle, boom, it goes through a pothole. There's a massive shake to the vehicle. The sensor detects that, okay, you went through a proper, like, damage or something. And I'm guessing that's a pothole because you are not driving into anything else, right? It's only pothole, or you just like bumped, like either it's an accident or it's a pothole. So if it's the sensor's going to, it's a pothole, and then it's like it updates the system that, okay, map, hey, there's something going on over here. The vehicle is okay. The vehicle didn't go through an accident, so it's a pothole.
You get the data. How many cities is it available in? Firstly, how will you roll it out, and where do you get the data from? I mean, people are saying if Aether has this data, why the hell doesn't the PWD?
I actually forgot announcing that on stage, but we are reaching out to municipalities to share this data with them. So whoever wants to use it can use it for whatever it is of value to them. The reason we have this data is because there are so many sensors on the vehicle that are understanding your vehicle's state, every vibration it goes through, every wheel slip that it goes through, your angle, your vehicle's lean angle, your vehicle's acceleration, speed, such. So with all that data, you can put it together and essentially understand, effectively create a road profile. And that's how you can understand where the road has issues, whether it is weirdly sized potholes or speed bumps or construction drops or whatever, but you can understand that.
Very interesting. Okay. SKCD coding, Elon, Grok code topping, open order leaderboard, competitor landscape movement for coding models. Will continue to accelerate. SKCD 42. Understanding the universe, X hacking, X FP engineer is just scored. Grok code just hit number 1 on open order leaderboard. Wait, GPT-5 is 10? That is crazy. NCN acceleration is pretty good. Wow. Report on Waymo incident at Atlanta. Autonomous vehicle edge case reality. Beating Claude Sonnet. Maybe we can add this too. This is interesting. Alright. Who said this? Waymo incident. Okay. Nick Cruz. This was said by Nick Cruz. Hey, why would you not just show me Nick's profile if this post doesn't exist? Then there's definitely a place in the future for electric boats. I spent the whole day on the ocean today, stopping at many ports. The smell of the diesel exhaust fumes was too much, especially as they all sit and idle. EV boats will fix that, while also being much quieter. Who's building EV boats? Arc. Okay, we got it here. Arc boats, high performance electric boats, Candela technology, Xshore Navier, Volteri, Greenline, Polentia, Twin V, Duffy, Electrocraft, Hydrofolus, battery tech, modularity, smart features. Okay. USA, Sweden, Canada, Volteri. Okay. USA Arc boats. We need to look into Arc boats. You're also seeing these boats a lot. Yeah, these boats are, we can see them in Italy and stuff. Very fancy. And what is this hydrofoiling? That is crazy. 100% electric. Hey, you don't say 100% electric on your fancy boat. You're supposed to be very luxury. and people should be taking your boat to the tiny, beautiful beaches of Italy. That's a vibe killer. Chinese automakers are just coming up with anything at this point. That is cool. That's cool. I saw that once. There were dolphins and stuff. What even is in an auto? And that's suboptimal pitch balance. Ice motor. XAI sues former engineer for stealing its secrets to give to OpenAI. Yeah, this was crazy. Elon Musk's self-driving Tesla lies are finally catching up to him. I took over 40 flawless robotaxi rides in Austin and drive with FSD daily. These articles are always nonsense. Oh wow. Model Y performance in Europe has 10% more range than the Model T performance thanks to a new battery with redesigned cells. Model Y performance, I would instantly buy a Model YL performance. Okay, if you want to learn about anything Tesla, go follow Nick. He's amazing. I mean, he's doing pretty much that. Jay Gupta question on fine-tuning as a service. A worthwhile technical market exploration replies often contain strong takes. Okay, this is gonna take us to... Is this gonna work? Not gonna work. Jaya Gupta. Let's go. Tweets about AI and other fun stuff. Currently, foundation cap. Building companies is in our bones. Previously, McKinsey, Georgia Tech, Stackfolio, Peak 7, Raymond James. Okay, got it. And she's in San Francisco. Service as software, Silicon Valley's hottest buzzword right now. Everyone's talking about SaaS becoming service providers. No one's explaining how. 6 months of research, hundreds of startup conversations. We have the answer. Systems of agents. Systems of agents. Vertical function. In-house. A world with AI enabling systems. What do we call it? The ZWIT. The ZWIT. Switzerland. Why did fine-tuning as a service never take off? Some of the stuff I've heard, data readiness. Most teams lack enough high-quality, well-formatted data. They have narrow, task-specific data, but not broad coverage, causing capability loss elsewhere. Painful iteration, batch workflow with long turnarounds. You send data, wait days, weeks, get mediocre results and repeat. Prompting retrieval and adaptive post-training recipes deliver quicker wins. Serving ownership gaps. Many vendors didn't host models. Handing off checkpoints, customers had to serve and maintain when customer... Grammar is bad. Okay. Introducing... Yes. Andre Karpathy loves Prime Intellect. It's up for sale. I think the users will find a nice new home shortly. What happened to Playground? Users will find a nice new home shortly. Interesting. Do you think it's reasonable for a company to ask you to pay for API costs for a take-home test? Name and shame. Industry-leading generative AI agents for call centers. Ask you to pay for API cost for a take-home test. Interesting. Foundation Capital's Palo Alto office. Let's go. The feeling when I got all my Kumon problems right and mom let me hop on Roblox for 30 minutes. SFT, Kumon worksheets plus Tiger Mom. Our environments giving kid a computer. We have got verbals from Benchmark Sequoia. VCs spread it so fast. Founder responds to their messages. You are late unless you're cool with uncapped or can close in 24 hours. It's become a formula in this overheated market. VCs are passing gossip faster than they are doing real diligence. And some founders have learned the game and can play it perfectly. And yes, what are the odds that Sequoia Benchmark made 3 verbal seed offers to the same companies in the last 1.5 weeks? Verbals from Benchmark Sequoia. VC spread it so fast. VCs spread it so fast. Founder responds to their messages. You're late unless you're cool with uncapped. Or can close in 24 hours. What does uncapped mean? Well, this is also interesting, right? People are using these strategies. Health tech VCs who invested in AI scribes watching epic UGM. Me listening to the earnings call of a company I own 1 share in. Yeah, this was a hit. Shreya Shankar replied that people do not know how to do evals, code bottleneck, applied ML quality and safety. Today's top 20 high signal posts are very interesting. Okay, Shreya Shankar doing PhD in Berkeley EECS building docetl.org teaching evals AI. MLNG undergrad Stanford CS. Okay. Response to her because people do not know how to do evals. Any other answer in the vein of too much complexity, too much cost is wrong. IMO. We do complex and expensive things all the time. As long as we have ways to evaluate whether it works. Practical coding stack. Aaron Levy. Our results show that on these controlled multimodal reasoning benchmark, GPT-5 moves from human comparable to above human expert performance. AI keeps reaching expert levels in medicine. You simply won't go to a service provider in the future without them using AI. We're going to look back on the world that was pre-AI and be absolutely astonished by how slow everything was. Every week at Box, as we got AI first, we highlight a workflow where someone internally built an AI agent for automating some process. It can be things like an HR process, sales outreach, responding to RFPs, handling a compliance workflow, writing documentation, and so on. Usually my immediate reaction is, I can't believe we used to do all this work manually. The amount of time that we have to spend on researching, writing, or moving data between steps just to get to the thing we actually are trying to do, like hire someone, close a deal, is insane. And interestingly, as a result of this exercise, I also actually see plenty of areas where I would be willing to invest more in people as a result of the process getting more efficient. The ROI calculus all of a sudden changes on lots of types of work when agents can actually accelerate the process or grow the output while time's ahead. AI first work. Yeah, this is also very interesting. So this goes here. I'll actually see the comments. Internally build, or do you sometimes buy the tool that has the AI agent? Right now they are primarily Box AI agent. Retooling the company with AI. I'm going to steal this. I can't believe we used to do all this work manually. I can't believe we used to do all this work manually. Peter Diamandis on non-invasive brain modulation versus implants, trend framing for neurotech and human computer interface directions. Let's see. Peter Diamandis. Right, one day Grok will work. One day. Not Grok, sorry. Comet. One day Comet will get all the right links. The day before something is a breakthrough. It's a crazy idea. Your food and groceries will be delivered by air if they are not already. As of 2025, the US controls about 74% of the world's AI computing power, with China roughly at 14%. This was interesting. Sam Altman is taking a different approach from Neuralinks implants with a non-invasive brain modulation. Nothing that can get hacked. David Shapiro. Okay, we like David Shapiro. I want to see what he says. Liberate humanity from drudgery. I used to listen to a lot of David Shapiro because he used to make these presentations and talk about his entire opinion. But the interesting thing is that these are like all future facing. They're like, okay, what will happen 2030? How will labor change? How will this change? And once you have an idea, it's hard to like keep creating content around that, because once people know that once people have a like broad idea, you are not then having much changes, because you cannot be like every day showing up and changing your vision 2030. So you kind of have to stick to one vision, and then you are pretty much just expanding on it. So yeah, I think even he stopped making those videos. Post-labor economics. I wish there was a way to catalog all the bangers and insights you ever get with your AS, just like just a little bookmark or something that shunts the message or core idea off to a separate folder. I could do this, but it's a pain to do it myself. I feel like we need a data stream of cool insights, a sort of global system bus of wisdom. That's what Meet Our Terminal is trying to achieve. The engine behind Web3's smartest AI agents. Interesting. What is it that kids say? Idea being cool, results. Idea being cringe, results. Your main character delusion is fascinating, but anyway, keep making videos that are usually insightful. I normally don't respond to these kinds of insults. However, I do unironically tell people that everyone should have an ego and everyone should be the main character of their own story. If I didn't have an ego, I wouldn't have the courage to get in front of 180,000 people and share my thoughts and ideas. Whether or not it is delusional or just being human is up to your personal interpretation. But yeah, I think everyone could do with more hubris. Very interesting. Just have more courage, more courage, more courage. You have to be selfish. You have to be selfish, because if you are not growing yourself, if you are not selfishly focused on your improving yourself, then how can you help others? Ironically, if you are not fact-checking things or talking about anything political or news, Grok has far, 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 far higher in emotional intelligence than ChatGPT. I've taken two copy-pasting problems that ChatGPT is struggling with, whether they are personal or drafting copy, and just say something like, ChatGPT is too emotionally inept for this, can you write it? And Grok will one-shot it. It's really fascinating how these models are all good at different things, and despite ChatGPT having been excellent in emotional intelligence, it now utterly sucks. It does not read the room at all. I think that is interesting. That is very interesting, because you kind of start realizing that, yeah, every model you have, once you start using these things, you have like once you start using it and you are using multiple models, you kind of build an interesting, wow, that sun was in my eyes. But anyways, the moment you see a problem, there's a model that pops in your mind. You're like, okay, if I'm thinking about this particular context, if I'm thinking about this particular problem, I am going to use Grok. Automatically your fingers go grok.com. If I am thinking about agents, automatically I'm thinking about Comet. If I'm thinking too much about design and aesthetics, automatically I'm thinking about Dia. I'm like, Dia is going to be whatever. I was trying to rhyme that. Anyways, I wonder what the AGI will look like as a product.
AGI look like as a product?
That's a good question.
Does it just look like the ChatGPT, but it can do anything better, faster?
Well, I mean, chat is such an interesting format because it mimics like how do humans communicate. Yeah. I can text you, we can write on the keyboard, but I can also talk and we can look at each other, and like a chat interface kind of gets at that full generality. So it's really powerful as a backdrop, but it's not the only interface. I think when you have AGI, your model is going to be in real time creating UI on the fly to build the most like economical, sensible solution for the thing that you're trying to accomplish. And you're gonna have all kinds of software being created and like being thrown away because you can just produce it again in an instant. I always come back, by the way, to if you've read Ender's Game,
yeah,
like the jewel in your ear, it can see what you see, it can hear what you hear, but it also is super intelligent and connects back to the information across the galaxy.
Yeah,
like that's kind of I think where we're going.
Jewel in your brain.
And like being thrown away because you can just produce it. You're gonna have all kinds of software being created and like being thrown away because you can just produce it again in an instant. I always come back, by the way, to if you've read Ender's Game,
yeah,
like the jewel in your ear, it can see what.
Ender's Game. Okay. Mark Carney, Infrastructure Acceleration Canada, policy direction with real economy implications. Oh my God, you didn't get anyone. I don't know if you got anyone. Mark Carney. We decide what happens here. Okay. Trust but verify. We must differ and fortify. Nous ne pouvons pas nous contenter de principes faire confiance mais vérifier. Avec Poutine, nous devons And this way they enforce on their phones. Okay. All right. Major projects. Big news today. We are officially launching the new Major Projects Office, a one-stop shop that turns the Building Canada Act into action. By coordinating approvals and owning the end-to-end process, the MPO gives industry clarity and certainty, not in 5 to 10 years, but in 2, all while upholding the environmental standards and indigenous consultation Canadians expect. And to lead this effort, we appointed one of Canada's most seasoned builders as CEO to the new Calgary headquarters. Don Farrell, who brings 4 decades of experience in clean and conventional energy as president, CEO, and chair at Trans Mountain, Trans Alta, and senior executive at BC Hydro. Public service is a moment when it matters most. We are fortunate to have a builder who has delivered multi-billion-dollar projects and knows how to get shovels in the ground, leading the new Major Projects Office. One stop for applications, no more limbo, no more sequential reviews, and no more agency maze between departments and regulators. This office is here to provide clear accountability, help structure financing, and coordinate across provinces, territories, in consultation with Indigenous people. By bringing everyone to the same table, the office ensures Canada can provide the regulatory certainty to put capital to work. Shovels in the ground sooner. It means more middle-class jobs, including in rural and remote regions. Revenues and royalties to fund the service we all rely on. This is how we secure our economic sovereignty and strengthen our hand with trading partners and lead the world in sustainable resource and energy development. Really cool. Okay, now we go here. Wait, what? You didn't do the work? You didn't do the work? Whoa. Wait, how does this work? Okay. Is this the civilization one? Search and analyze my feed review. This one? Move the civilization forward. Okay. Claude highlights real world building with AI. Anthropic degraded performance post-mortem. Google Gemini 2.5 Flash image nanobanana editing best practices. Okay. I forgot. You don't work. Who's this? Phil Schmidt. I don't know which one we're looking for. Phil Schmidt nanobanana right here. Alright. Be hyper specific. The more detail you provide, the more control you have. Fantasy armor. Describe it. Ornate, elven, plaid armor, edged with silver leaf patterns. Okay. Fixed character consistency drifts. Restart a conversation with a detailed description to retain consistency. Provide a context and intent. Explain the purpose of the image. Create a logo for a high-end minimalist skincare brand. Create a logo. Okay. Iterate and refine. Don't expect a perfect image on the first try. Use the conversational nature of the model to make small changes. Aspect ratios. Control the camera. Use photographic and cinematic language to control the composition. Wide angle shot, macro shot, low angle perspective. 88 millimeter portrait lens and Dutch angle. What's the Dutch angle? Oh, you see something? The entire Google page is in Dutch angle. Dutch tilt, canted angle, vortex plane. This is really cool. This is the Dutch angle. It's tilted, but it looks good. It's just the right amount of tilt. Canted angle. Horizon line of the shot is not parallel with the bottom of the frame. Viewpoint akin to tilting one's head to the side. In cinematography, the Dutch angle is one of the many cinematic techniques often used to portray psychological uneasiness or tension in the subject being filmed. German expressionist cinema, which employed extensively. Yeah, I think I've seen this one movie where I think it was all Dutch angle. It was all Dutch angle. OpenAI devs GPT-5 integrated into Xcode code video. Exists pas. Supervised Australian media review neutral road test showing the robust performance. Evidence of AV maturation. AI native coding environments. OpenAI devs stablecoins on Ethereum hit all-time high. On-chain finance infrastructure growth. Denmark most recognized biometric likeness as legal property. White matters. M astronomers. Landmark policy for deepfake era rights over face body can calibrate AI content markets and consent norms. What are we looking at? Detailed photograph of our sun. Wow. What is happening? This is crazy. Is this real? Wow. This is what sun is? That's crazy. Okay, right here. Make your face, voice, and body your legal property. You can demand takedowns and get paid for unauthorized use. Get paid for unauthorized use of your image. Works protected under copyright law. Secured bipartisan agreement to amend the country's current copyright laws. The new bill was submitted for consultation. Undergoing public consultation throughout the summer 25, allowing stakeholders, legal experts, and civil society to provide their opinions. Saab airbrush anti-drone storm missile. Critical infrastructure and battlefield resilience. Palantir as backbone versus demo where AI startups. Emphasis on operational AI systems for defense where durable value is accruing in enterprise AI. Yeah, I don't want to look into Tom Nash. Aave Horizon crosses 50 million net deposits in 2 days. Rapid traction in tokenized real-world assets signal the next DeFi growth. Google working on Pirate Mode multimodal persona UXN. Testing catalog. Context-specific human-computer interaction. Pirate mode. Disable this setting to opt out of pirate speak. Okay. No pray, no pay. New embedding model cuts vector DB cost. 200x outperforms incumbents. YC stack observation founders using each other's SORA tools. Meta acceleration loop. Best in class. Big Valley Blue. Best in class OD tools compounding each other's velocity and product quality. Okay, this is interesting. This makes sense. Like you don't want to get stuck with someone who is not growing at the same pace. Big Valley Blue right here. CTO. Previously Harvard Bio CS research on diffusion models, continual learning. People already talk to ChatGPT. Okay. Super fun creating animations for a logo made with Nano Banana. Okay. YC is interesting because everyone is using each other's products. People sometimes frame that negatively like it's fake revenue. But this is so valid because these products are state of the art in each category. It is almost stupid to not build your entire stack out of other companies in the batch. Yeah, this is not true. Most are super early stage and barely work and will probably pivot next week. They literally mean every YC company is using every other product, but I think a remarkable number of products gain popularity inside the batch, and those tend to be soda. How about I 10x your coding agent, and in return you can train leave on my human expressions? Delve is one of the best to do it. Oh yeah, love Delve. But I honestly just look at to my own batch first because they are like the most ahead, and some are just about to replace companies from a one batch before lol. Gemini Flash, Pro, Ultra, Gemma, Vio, Lyra, and then Nano Banana is so amusing. Someone recorded an audio themselves giving birth and put in public audio data so people really put anything. The indirect economic effects of Waymo should really be studied because I know at least 3 young people who rode it for the first time had some sort of tech is back revelation, and maybe not pure causation, but ended up moving to SF later. If your friend isn't amazed the first time they ride a Waymo, you should be skeptical. I wonder how non-tech people typically react to Waymo if they're not like mind blown. Super true. Best way to hire a really cracked person for marketing social media. What is this? Auto translation of tweets in my timeline is annoying for me as a bilingual since I'm used to consuming information in both languages, but generally it's a great feature. Is there a way to turn this off? Interesting. I'll actually like it. We're Silk, Rare Cloud Code, Hospital, Self-Paced Service Transparency, Anecdote, okay. Healthcare incentives, supports market and policy reforms for rational pricing. Giga-based dad, what is that? Okay. Giga-based dad. The hospital sent us $30.7K bill for the birth of our son. We said we were not insured and we're doing self-pay. They send us a new bill of 2.1K instead. Make sense whatsoever. We hadn't had insurance in at least 5 years. We'll absolutely never agree to be insured ever again. Private pay for the rest of our lives. Okay, that is very interesting. You pay money to get insured, and because of that, you get charged a lot more money. But if you just never pay, you will be charged like what's that amount? It's like 20x less or 50x less. That is crazy. 20x maybe. For examples where Wall Street will stake and build on Ethereum, Tom Lee, real all in crypto. Institutional adoption and staking implies structural demand and long-term network value possibilities. Playbook for decentralized automated services. Okay, we'll look into quickly forecaster. Open Zeppelin contracts you a builder, universal markup, Coinbase wallet UX, annotation for gas swaps. Banker has AI first crypto execution layer. Okay. Software engineering has shifted to AI tools and positions Banker as analogous for crypto execution. Captures the macro trend agents as primary interfaces for on-chain ops, hence at Copilot for DeFi product market fit. Verifiable fees, leaderboards, on-chain rewards, technical thread, ABI versus real understanding. Whoa. Security governance thought experiment private key for why multiple private keys can map to an address, and that an emergency release fork would be likely block malicious transactions. Your product should be simple. Attention is finite. Your product should be simple, especially in this era and in this industry. People's attention are their most finite resource these days. Your product should not tax that more than it absolutely must. And while money is a great motivator to deploy more attention, ROI is more scarce than simplicity. ROI is more scarce than simplicity. Your product should be simple. Working on Pine Tree, on-chain videos.
God damn, Jimmy, this some serious gourmet shit. Me and Vincent would have been satisfied with some freeze dry.
Dance. This was cool. This was cool. Behind Solana's economic engine, Nick Hayden. Oh, is he showing up every day? Serious gourmet shit. Goddamn, Jimmy, this is some serious gourmet shit. 30 subscribers. I think he's doing it pretty much every day. Cool, 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 cool. Enjoy some nice tunes from 0x Gourmet. Love gourmet. Oh, wow. Just one tweet. This is some serious gourmet. Real world onboarding, push for pace. Today's a good day to onboard your friends and family to pace. Signals ecosystem initiator and timing, good moment for practitioners to act on concrete onboarding flows. Running a meta shift analogy. Decade-long shift from barefoot meta to super shoes for performance and injury reduction. Tooling meta changes strategy, shit to think AI tools, agents, wallet UX. Embrace new super tools in dev and product processes. Conservative setups may be safer. Looking 4 feet. Compounding gains. Compounding gains is so real. It's all about compounding gains now. I just bought my first pair of super shoes. This pair felt conservative, a bit more weight, but more supportive. Happy to add a few seconds to the race if it reduces the chance of injury. It's really crazy how the meta has shifted over the last decade from the human foot is perfect if you insist on wearing shoes. They should be maximally minimal to where are these tiny bouncy castles. They will make you rare. They'll make you 4% faster. I guess the science really is never settled. Oh wow. Okay, Perplexity kind of added something interesting over here. Embracing. Oh wow. Okay, Perplexity added more stuff. It just like took this and ran on top of it. Embracing super tools in dev and product processes. Conservative setups may be safer, but again 4 feet compounding gains. I'll just randomly post this. Okay, perfect. All right, that's the stream. Thank you.